Good morning. The wind's blowing, so we're not fishing. So I thought I'll just make a video. Hope the video gets to the right people. I had an opportunity in 2010 to go and work on the Congo River, and we had top scientists that were involved in the situation from Belgium, and they on the Congo River they use 6 permanent dredges to maintain that river because of the erosion when it rains and the water comes down and so forth. So sand gets silt up and so forth. So you have to dredge that river constantly, and it's extremely expensive story. You've got surveyors involved, and yeah, it's the budget for that is astronomical, and we were sent up for the project for twofold. The one was to open up the river. Dredging International was in charge of the dredging and so forth. So I was the support vessel, survey vessel, and the emergency vessel. And my vessel was taken up. The same vessel we're fishing with was taken up. Had some alterations made to it for a cabin and everything like that. And we worked really hard. And we opened up the river, and then after that decided to put a stop to the erosion, so that the bill of maintaining that river gets is much less. And about 8 months ago, when we left in 2010, there was still one of the engineers that stayed over there to monitor what we did, whether it was a success. And what we actually did is we took the area from soil, which is about 160 kilometers up the river from the Congo, from the beach. So you get soil, which is on the coastline, and then you get boma, and then you get matadi. And we actually drew a line from matadi all the way down to the coastline and tried to make it as straight as possible. So we dug a trench 10 meters wide, 2 meters deep, and that is now 13 years back. They sent an email thanking us for the hard work that we did and what a success it was. So what happened is the river actually followed that trench that we dug, and it naturally digs the river deeper and deeper because it's a straight line, and it takes the sand out to the ocean, and the ocean it just get dispersed with the current up and down. So their maintenance cost was reduced to basically nothing. These dredges are standing, and they're just doing a little bit of maintenance work and so forth, and they're focusing on keeping that trench so the water can follow that trench. Now, we've got the same situation in Durban, where we use, I think it's 2 or 3 dredges here, but permanently definitely one, and our municipality is spending a shitload of money on maintaining our beaches, our beachfront, pumping sand onto the what's name. And the older generation was clever. They built the piers. You know, everybody fishes off the piers from Snake Park all the way down. You know, and those things are really good. You know, it works. If they actually start, let me just turn this thing down. If they actually start all the way from Tongaat Beach, then and they build these piers out, but don't put a tarp structure, just put it underneath the water, you know, so it's safe for the ships to travel out and so forth. And you do from Tongaat Beach all the way, take a straight line with a bluff and Tongaat, and every like 2 kilometers, a kilometer apart, put a pier down all the way to Arrington Beach. You will actually stop the erosion of our coastline on the Golden Mile. Now, It's a long-term project, but it will save you billions and billions over the years. If you look at the budget that is actually allocated for them to do this in Durban Harbour Port and so forth, then it makes sense. I'd rather do something like this. The reason why I'm saying this is it's a twofold situation. We are focusing on limiting the catches, and we are focusing on putting more reserve in. But we are doing absolutely nothing to cultivate our fish stock. And it's simple. I mean, at the moment, say, for instance, a fish lays 1,000 eggs. Out of those, about 10% will hatch. A lot of them won't get to each other because the sperm don't reach the egg. If you've got piers out like this that makes the current actually turbulence in it, it will have the sperm and the eggs will actually turn, and it will get chance to mix, and you can actually increase your stock to 90% from 10%. So the people need to, authorities in Watson need to realize that they need to focus on cultivating our stock and managing our stock properly. Now, it's a difficult subject. I mean, Australia, New Zealand, and so forth, they cull their sharks. It's not nice to say it. I'm going to take a lot of flack with it, but we are here to manage it. Everybody's catching sharks on the beach. How much edibles are you catching from the beach? No one, and everybody's just accepting it. We're catching sharks. It's a great sport and everything like that. Save the sharks, shave the sharks, and so forth. But you're putting down our fish stocks. Just imagine if you go to the beach and you pull out a musselcracker, you pull out geelbek from the beach and those type of things. I mean, it's going to increase. But the thing is, we need to focus. I mean, you can take things like the tires and so forth. A lot of science said tires are toxic and everything like that. And if you go by the North Pier and you swim a little bit out, you'll find what we call junk reef. A junk reef, years back, tires were dumped there. And that's a clear example of whether it's toxic or not and what happens to the tire. Those all those tires has got growth on it and so forth. It's a natural reef and so forth. So they can really consider in doing these barriers out to sea that will actually stop the current from going so fast, and it will cause turbulence, which will mix the eggs and so forth. We get rid of all our tires without filling it into the landfills and so forth, and build natural reefs. I'll do a little bit of a further elaboration on all of these things. But I mean, when I started fishing, my mentor actually told me, listen here, if you want to be successful in 20, 30, 40 years, then start off now. He showed me how to do it. We actually built pinnacles. We built 8 pinnacles in number 1 area that nobody knows about. So took a 200-liter drum, we filled it half with weight stones and so forth, and put concrete into it, and a mooring. The ships, those thick mooring ropes. We did about 15 meters of that, and then we spliced a long line buoy, but proper strong long line buoy that won't break, onto that, and drop these ones in a figure of 8, just enough so you can set your autopilot to do a figure of 8 when you're trolling for kuta. And these pinnacles now, at this stage, they're about, I would say, about 3 to 4 meters thick, and that's from a rope that's about 10 centimeters in diameter. The muscles started growing on it, and upon that, 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 and eventually this rope actually stands up straight, doesn't move, and it gives a safe haven for fish and so forth. It attracts the bait fish and so forth, and the game fish circles it. There's not a lot of people. I see the boats are fishing in that area for kuta, but they don't realize why are that area productive, and that was the reason for that. We did about 4 years back. We threw 8 between Mhlanga barge and the containers. I did 8 of them in a straight line. So that's now altogether 16 pinnacles that we made. But it gives your bait fish opportunity to congregate there, have a structure to swim around and so forth. All of these things, we need to get people together and get authorities to realize that, you know what, there is in the future, these type of things will benefit to our stocks of our fish and so forth. I mean, the scientists are doing a great job by putting up what do you call it, NPAs and those type of things, but to increase our stocks, guys need to focus. What can we do to increase our stock? I mean, it's like farming, you know. They're making new chemicals and everything to like on the potatoes and those type of things, to give you a 15% extra yield on it. Now, if you can do that with fish stocks, it will have a lot of effect.